All right. Good afternoon, fellas. Appreciate you coming. Thank you for making your appearance tonight. My name is Christopher Barnes. I am a domestic violence awareness advocate. We are here to have this mental health wish list roundtable discussion tonight because we want to focus on male mental health. We want to focus on male stability. I want to welcome everybody watching, especially all the men. For me, this is important to have. This is important that we meet as fellas to talk about this. We all come from diverse backgrounds. We come from diverse cultures. We need to come together. Thanks for coming back, Reverend Motley. We need to have more engagements like this so we can just talk openly, but reach out to the generations that come behind us so that their lives don't have to mirror the rest and the drama that our lives have mirrored. It's about raising healthy families to raise healthy families, pretty much. And so I want to take a moment again just to say thank you. You know, we're here to bridge that gap. We're here to be the change agent for anybody, not just the generation behind us, before anybody that's in a situation that we have found ourselves in life. I just want to take a minute and, you know, go around and each one of you all introduce yourself and say what this means to you and why is this important to you. Oh, shit.
Who do you want to start off?
Hey, look, I don't know if everybody can hear me or not, and I don't know if it's too loud. And if it is, I do apologize. I guess y'all was waiting on me to get started, and I hope that it ain't too loud. I'm trying to figure out the AirPods, so bear with me. But
You good, bro?
yeah, we're introducing ourselves for right now. How y'all doing, everybody? Good night. I hope y'all all are having a great night. I just had to get through a lot of rumbling and rushing to get to this position to be here, and I'm so thankful that I'm here. I'm super excited. I've been thinking about this since Queen Afi let me do it last year. We need to understand that this is a space that is created for men to be able to release a lot of frustration and anger that is built up within inside them. We're able to express and tell others that sharing really helps. You know what I mean? My name is Gary Henson. I'm a minister in training. I am a 24-year military, government and military veteran as well. I have been working for Fort Belvoir Army Community Hospital for over 22 years now for the U.S. government as a general foreman here. That's just a little bit brief about myself. I am also a mental health advocate. I work side and side with Queen Afi and Domestic Violence Wears Many Tags and other many organizations like Daryl Harrison, Crime Victims Foundations, Overseer Ann Coles, and Kingdom Life Outreach Ministries, and I'm under that Action 1 too. I'm here to tell a story about how I got to my point where I am in my life and help be a part of this great thing, which is called a safe space that Queen Afi has created for us young men. And that's me starting off. I'm not sure if that's how we're going this, and that's just a little introduction to myself. So how y'all doing, everybody? Glad to see everybody, and glad to see you, Reverend Motley, Pop. God bless, and God is great. Amen.
All right, praise the Lord.
Amen. Right. Appreciate you. Reverend Motley, your turn, sir.
Okay.
Tell us who you are and how you.
Okay. Hey, Chris. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Okay, you hear me? Let me see.
I can hear you.
You can hear me now. Hey, King Kali and Chris and Ren. It's good to have you, brothers. This is Anthony Motley over here in Southeast Washington, D.C. I thank God for life, health, and strength. I don't know if you knew, Chris, I had a stroke, and I am recuperating now. And this is one of my first outings. Queen asked me to do this, and so I want honored to be here, to be with you brothers, to talk about these issues. I grew up in Southeast DC, and then I went into the military, and then went to school, and then started doing a lot of community work, and was dealing with a lot of issues in the community. And but even as a kid growing up, I saw my share of violence and drugs, and so some of that it rubbed off on me and caused me to do some things that I'm not so proud of down through the years. And even in the military, I had to go through mental health counseling. So I'm here. God bless you. Whatever we need to talk, let's talk. Because God has been a good God to all of us. So thank you so much for this time.
All right, sir. We thank you for your introduction. We're going to go to Ren, the artist. Ren, is that how I should say it? Ren, the artist.
Yeah, you can just say Ren. That's cool. That's my
All
Instagram
right,
handle.
we're going to.
Right.
All
All right.
right, all right.
How's everybody doing? My real name is Warren Henson. Kali is actually my younger brother, right? But I go by the name Ren. That's the name. Those last three letters of my first name. It's the name I've been going by. I work full time right now as a case manager in DC for homeless people. Right. I help them get vouchers, and after they get the voucher, help them get housing. And after they get housing, I keep them connected to proper resources so they can maintain and sustain in society. That's just part of my story. I did 28 years in prison for murder, which it was proven in court I didn't do. In Maryland, they have a law called felony murder, so it doesn't matter if you were involved in it doesn't matter if you the trigger man or not. It's Kelly, you believe? So yeah, I've had a lot of issues that led me to prison, and while I was in prison, I had a lot of issues, and I'm ready to share my story. I believe it's important for me to be in these circles right here because I feel it's important to share my story where others can learn vicariously through me and my experiences so they don't go down the same path that I went through. Right. I want people to know in settings like this that we're not alone. Right. When you hear other people's story, like, damn, people did that, and I need to hear it from other people. So I'm blessed to be here. Thank you for the invite, and I'm ready to see where we go tonight with this.
Hey man, thank you, Big Brent. I really appreciate you being here. I'm sorry to jump in real quick, man, but it's my brother. I gotta show him love, man. 28 years he's been gone. Uh,
You're muted.
Okay, so I was muted. So I was saying my story is a little different than you all's. I come from a different perspective because I was the aggressor in a domestic violence relationship, where I was the controller, the manipulator, the what I say goes type of person. So we're going to talk about that a little more. We're going to talk about how I had to do some uh, uh, mental health. Golly, what was it called? The court made me go anger management and different type of things like that. And we're going to dive into that later on and how that plays into your mental health and your mental awareness. For right now, I want to ask Reverend Motley a question. The question I have for you, or the statement I have for you, is I want you to share part of your story of helping males struggle with mental health issues as a result of traumatic experience, and following it up with a talk about your initiatives in the community and abroad.
Okay. Hey Chris, I think my beginnings when I was a kid. Um, I think I was 10 years old, and one of my classmates got killed over here off Alabama Avenue. And then about 2 years later, another one of my um, classmates got killed by a drunk driver on Mississippi Avenue. And then um, I started, hanging out with older crowds, and then started one of my friends. We were in an apartment, and one of our friends, his grandmother had a gun, and he went in the back room and got the gun, and then came out and shot one of our friends that we were like, I think 14 years old when that happened. So I saw all of that under the age of 14. Then just out here trying to survive. We used to go out and we used to call what we used to hit the milk truck. People had milk truck, and the milk truck would deliver the milk to the community, and we would go hit the milk truck. So we get the orange juice and the chocolate milk, and then the bread truck would come, and then we get the bread truck, and that would give us our cakes and pies and donuts and stuff. And so we started, trying to just trying to find a way to survive out here. And then I found myself as a kid growing up that I wanted to find a way to do better in the community, and then realized that there wasn't really no support systems, no. It was like we took care of each other. The older ones took care of the young ones, and it was it was a community. Wasn't a whole lot of drama, um, and we really back during then. I think I had one incident where I hit a female, and I was like about I think I was like 15 years, 16 years old, and I hit a female, uh, and then me and her brother got into it about it, but I wasn't really being violent towards women, and then I found myself as a kid trying to find a way to make ends meet, and so I did a lot of hustling back in the day, and then realized that also I was um, part of, I guess my family was looking at the civil rights struggle, and so I was kind of pulled into that. My mother, she was in the church, and they would during the civil rights movements and the stuff that they would do over here in Southeast and in DC to support those coming in from out of town. A lot of with the protests and all that, and the families would feed people, and so I got caught up in that too. Um, but then, as far as my mental state of mind, um, I was mostly dealing with racism as a young guy, and experiencing racism, and that's a mental health issue that a lot of us really never really looked at, but that had an impact on my life as well. I didn't know how to really handle the racism. Go to the back of the bus. You can't eat out of certain restaurants. You can't drink out of the water fountain. I experienced that. You can't go to the same bathroom I experienced that, and that had a mental strain on my life as well. Um, so then, as I began to find my place in I guess society, I went in the army, and I thought the army was going to do it, and that was going to help me. But I found that even the army was going to was a strain on my mental capacity and my what I call my compassion, because I really didn't have no compassion at some point, you know, and and I just found myself going back and forth, and like Ren said, I was dealing with homelessness at one point, and drugs, and all, and really didn't really understand um, what it was that I needed to do to get myself, better. And so one of the first things that I did was to go to the VA and talk to them about getting off of the drugs, because they was giving me a lot of drugs, and I had to get off of that. And then trying to find myself, trying to do better in the community and wherever I could help, feed the homeless, make sure to have books and book bags for school, things like that for the kids. And that was therapeutic for me. Um, and then later on, I found myself being challenged with some personal stuff that really caused me to want to take my life, And then I said, no, I can't do that, because life is precious, and God is the author and the finisher of my life. And so I had to go to therapy and began to talk to some therapists about what it was that I needed to process in order to get better. So I thank God for this time and appreciate this opportunity to share.
All right, my friend, man. I appreciate you sharing. I really do, man. That was kind of a heartfelt, touching message. Especially in the beginnings, you talk about going through the racism and the segregation part of your life. I personally, it touches me, but the one thing that relates that sticks out to me, you thought about suicide on your life, and I don't know if you or me and you are the only two of the four of us is here, but I've had a moment like that in life, and it was a crazy moment, and you know, I remember the guy. They put me in a room with this guy. He was naked with a blanket wrapped around him, and I was just like, I'm not sleeping. I watched this guy all night. Just was like, what's up with this dude?
Mm-hmm.
But brother, man, I do. Do you have any initiatives that are in the community or abroad, or anything that you're planning to uproot anytime soon that's going to get this moving in a different direction?
Yeah, Chris, I see myself as a visionary, as a social entrepreneur who goes out and tries to find solutions to community-based problems. Looking at, one of the first things that when I came home from the army, and I was away at school and I came home, the first thing I talked about was poverty in the community, and people don't realize the poverty. There's a poverty. It's a physical, material poverty, and there's a spiritual poverty in our community. And so we have to learn how to tackle, all of that. You just can't do it one thing at a time. It's got to be all done at the same time. And it's definitely that spiritual piece. It's called despair. We have a lot of despair in our community, hopelessness. And so the hopelessness begins to manifest itself with the guns and the violence and the deprivation. So what I tried to do is to look at education, and so I created a summer academic program years ago, and DC Public Schools adopted that program, and that's what's happening right now. And that's a summer academic program. Then we did after school programs, which they didn't have after school programs back in the early '80s, and we started that program, and then started all kind of initiatives to this day. Even today, we have what is called the Public Safety Consortium, East of the River Public Safety Consortium, which domestic violence wears many tags as a member of that. Darrell Houston Foundation is part of that. Queen Overseer Cole, all of us are part of that consortium where we work together to try to solve the problems of poverty, homelessness, the housing issue, the food insecurities. So like what King Kali is doing, he's out to the homeless in McPherson Square and making sure that the folks are getting, services and all. And so we do this stuff because it's necessary as people of God to show the face of God, in the midst of all of this. And so we're doing it right now. And also we kind of address the issue of gun violence, and we do, and also the issue of government legislation, government policies. Are these policies working on behalf of the people? Is legislation being initiated on behalf of the people? Because a lot of times we miss the mark when our political leaders don't do what they're supposed to do. And so we're trying to do those things right now, Chris.
All right. All right, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you can mute yourself, we're going to go to my brother Ren, who, before you talk, my friend, I got to say, we're not here for this, but you are a talented artist. This is his Instagram name you see on the screen. Go check him out. I checked him out. This is museum quality work you won't want to miss. Now, brother man, it's your turn. I want you to share with us, part of your story in the case of helping males that struggle with injuries that result as a traumatic experience. And then I want you to talk about your artwork and what inspired you to be an artist.
First of all, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, Mr. Barnes. When I was a teenager, right, I had got in a situation where me and my father, we had this disagreement, because when I was in school, my teachers were encouraging me to go to art school, because when I was in art class, me and a couple others, we excelled in drawing, and so my teacher was really encouraging me to go to art school. My father didn't want me to go to art school. He wanted me to go to the military, which caused a big friction between me and my father, to the point where I decided to leave home, right? Because I wasn't going to the military, not knocking anyone that's in the military or went to the military. That wasn't for me. My dream was to be an artist. My dream wasn't to fight in any war. With I wanted to create, and that's what I wanted to do. That was my passion, and I knew that at an early age. So when me and my father had just fallen out, I left home, came to Maryland, and lived with my mom. And I'm because of all the mental hell I was going through at the time, I ran away from, I got kicked out of my mother's home because I stopped going to school. I stopped wanting to be an artist. I was in the streets. I got around other Filipinos that was doing some dirt. In turn, I started doing some dirt. In turn, I started going harder than them, to the point where the people in the Filipinos in the Oxon Hill Fort Washington area feared me because at that time it was 1991. A lot of people in that community wasn't carrying around guns. Me and all my boys, we had guns. We was doing stuff. So I was like in a real dark place. People see me in that dark place and didn't go about the right way of trying to pull me out of the dark place. They judged me. They talked down to me. They put me deeper and deeper into that mental hell. So I was involved in a burglary in which a man lost his life. It was proven in court that I was not the trigger man. It was proven in court that I was actually shot during the burglary. But while I was unconscious, the man lost his life. When I woke up, I was being arrested for felony murder, burglary, and use of a handgun in the commission of a felony. They have that law, felony murder. It don't matter if you're the trigger man or not. If you were involved in that felony, you just as guilty as a trigger man. So at 17 years old, I was sentenced to natural life plus 5 years for a murder I didn't commit, right? And it was traumatic. When I went into the penitentiary in Baltimore City, there was not just me who was 17, but you had children in there, 14 years old with life sentences, 15 years old with life sentences. Big house, the Maryland Penitentiary, 14, 15, 16, 17. A lot of those guys made it home, but there's a lot of those guys that are still in prison, right? What got me out of that mental hell was a lot of the older men, and I'm gonna say men because when I was home, I never met a man, right? I met males, but I never met a man. But when I was in prison, I sat in circles just like this. I sat in groups like AVP, that's Alternative to Violence Project. I've sat in groups like Impact, where it's like inmates making a positive attempt to collectively educate teens, because a lot of us were kids. A lot of guys in there taught us how to be men, right? They taught us how to be responsible. If we were in the yard playing basketball, we were playing any kind of sport or just running around the yard. We're not in school trying to get our GED. Why not? Why are we trying to go to college? Why are we in the library working on a case trying to get home, right? And if they seen us acting up, they would take us in that gym, put them gloves on us and beat our bodies, right? They taught us how to be responsible. They taught us how to be men, right? But even with all that, I was still a child serving a life sentence, seeing men being locked up 30, 40, 50 years. I might be locked up 3 or 4 years at a time, seeing guys 30, 40, 50 years in. Some guys since they were 16 and they in their 50s, right? And I'm like, damn, if they not going home, who's to say I ever make it home? I'm thinking I'm gonna die in prison, right? So I end up backsliding, started drinking that prison wine, started smoking, started just doing a lot of stuff. Said, bump that school, bump this and bump that. Like I was really in 1999, I went to the Cut. That's in Jessup, Maryland. That was the Maryland House of Corrections. That was one of the most dangerous prisons in Matter of fact, it was the dangerous prison in Maryland, besides the annex, and one of the dangerous prisons in the United States. So many people were murdered in there while I was in there. COs were murdered while I was in there. Like it was an ugly place. But I always say that's where I became a man, because that's where I started healing and I started growing. That's where I stopped looking outside of me for the answers to the questions that I was looking for, and I started going within, right? And that's where I first walked by this guy named Robert Farmer, walked by his cell, and he had papers all over his cell. He had video games, they had all that type of stuff. You allowed to have that stuff in the Maryland system. This guy didn't have a TV, he didn't have a radio, he had none of that. All he had was an easel and he had paintings, right? And it was just like the way Chris described my paintings. This man's paintings were the most amazing, beautiful paintings I've ever seen in my life. He wasn't in the cell, He had his curtain open, you could see everything in there. But I finally met him and I told him, man, I want to learn how to do that. He said, if because I always wanted to be an artist. That's all I wanted to do. And I seen that, and it reminded me of when I was a child again. It gave me that passion again to create. So he said, if I meet him in the library every day at 1 o'clock, he'll teach me how to draw, teach me how to paint. And that's what I did. Every day, 1 o'clock for years, I was going in there, from just drawing styrofoam cups to rolls of toilet paper to eventually apples and eventually portraits. Gave me a hustle, gave me a way to make money where I didn't have to make money. I actually paid my own lawyer while I was in there to finally just to get out. Right, I did 28 years. Well, matter of fact, let me back up. In 2001, the same judge that sentenced me to natural life plus 5 years cut my time to 43 years. And on that 43 years, I did 28 years. September 2019, I came home. I had like 15 jobs before I got the job I have now. I was working at different warehouses, working at different restaurants. Had a problem with authority just because of the places I've been with and dealing with the COs and stuff. I had a lot of anger issues built up. A lot of my family, they look at me sideways to this day because of the way I talk. The way I talk so aggressive, the way I'm loud, and they really don't understand how a lot of people in my shoes, family don't really understand how 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years, it's like you can't cut the switch off overnight, right? So I was asked, what do I feel the people in prison would need to address the mental health issue, right? We have groups in prison. We have groups like AA, NA. We have groups like Alternative to Violence, where I was involved in. We have groups like Anger Management, which I facilitated for many years. We have communication workshops. We have all these different workshops, all these different classes, and some of them touch on mental health issues, but they don't really go deep into it. And I would love to get with a team to develop a program where men that follow my footsteps, where they can learn some skills to cope with the mental hell that they're going through, right? I believe it's very important because a lot of those programs teach you how to cope in prison, teach you how to deal with situations in prison. They don't teach you about situations when you come home. They don't teach you about living in the free world, because a lot of the men in there, we haven't been free for years, so we don't have those tools. So I believe a lot of men on the outside need to start volunteering on the inside. Women can volunteer too, but I believe the men need to go in there so they can see other men that experienced it, right? And I think that's very important, right? And right now, I work full time. I was lucky enough a year, like last September, to stumble, and I'm gonna use the word stumble, because I don't have college degrees, I don't have GED, right? And I was talking to a person about the work I was doing when I was inside. So they said, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my executive director about the work you did on the inside and see if you can come on board with us, which is as a case manager working with homeless people in DC. I was homeless at one time. I ran away from my father's house. I got kicked out of my mother's house. I was living house to house with homeboys, living with girlfriends. I was living in cars on the side of 7-Elevens. I was living in the streets, right? So I was homeless. I've been in their shoes. I know what it's like. So I work now as a case manager, addressing a lot of my clients' mental health issues. I help them try to recognize the barriers they have on why they're homeless. I help them pinpoint their presenting problems and try to give them the right resources so they can overcome that. I help them get vouchers. I put all the DCHA on their behalf. I advocate for them. And once they get the vouchers, I go to the apartments. I go to all the landlords and I let them know I have a client that has a voucher. He might have to pay a rent portion, or she might have to pay a rent portion, but everything will be taken care of. And once they get housed, I make sure I contact them at least once a week. DHS, they want us to talk to them twice a week, but I think that's a little overboard. So at least once a week, I might call them to check on them, see if they need anything, see if they need any resources. And some of them I get money for through my job, and I'll go grocery shopping for them and drop it off at their doorsteps. Right? I just try to help them make sure that they maintain and they address the issues that they have. And I feel that's a job that I love. It's the longest job I had since I've been out here. Day, no notice, no 2-week notice. I'll just roll out, and now I got a job where I feel like I'm helping people. I'm painting. I'm doing art shows. I do spoken word events. I'm a poet also. I just love life, and I'm enjoying life. So I hope I addressed everything that's supposed to be addressed. If I missed anything, please let me know. A couple of my paintings are in the background. One, the blue one right here, is called The Struggle, right? Because for the majority of my life, I was in a struggle. And that pain shows the pain I was going through. The pain right here is called As a Man Thinketh. That's me in deep thought about all the stuff I'm going through and how can I get out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think, not that I think, but I know everything starts with a thought. And I'm thinking big. I'm thinking doing great things. And that's what I'm doing. I actually have a painting called Mental Health, but I don't have it on. I have it wrapped up right now, packaged up right now. But you can definitely go on my Instagram and check it out. Check all my artwork out. There's a link to my Instagram. So I leave you as I greet you in peace and respect. So if you want to ask me any questions later on, you definitely can.
All right, well, not so fast, Kyle. Well, I got a question for you right now. Because one thing you said that stuck out to me is I never met a man until I got in trouble. That's deep. We in a world full of men. You go to jail and you meet a man.
It's real.
Just expound on that a little bit for me.
Okay. Prior to me going to prison, that you would perceive to be men, when you look back and see the lessons that they try to teach you everything about the low, the negative, right? They try to teach you about how to get money through the drug game, how to get money through robbing people, how to what's the next lick, how to put a gun in your hand. You see this stuff and you wanna gravitate to that because you thinking that's what a man's supposed to be, right? So I didn't have a man in my life, but my father was in my life. Don't get me wrong. Me and G father was in our life, but we had so many differences. There wasn't a lot of communication. He didn't really sit me down and teach me anything. I learned a lot of stuff by watching him, but he never sat down and said, man, you're doing this wrong. This is how you need to do it. And this is a better way to do it. I never had that. When I went to prison, murderers, robbers, the biggest drug dealers, the scum of the earth, you would think that a lot of these guys in prison are full of game, full of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like just they had to be some cruddy people, excuse my language, but they had to be some cruddy people to be in this situation. Not even looking at yourself, like I wasn't cruddy. Once you get to know them, and they sat there and like, man, like I remember I was in school for my GED, and they had a big basketball game in the yard that I wanted to see. They actually had News Channel 2 in Baltimore come inside the prison, and the anchors was playing guys in the prison in one yard. So I'm like, man, I'm going to get out of this school. I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm getting out that front door because I want to see this basketball game. And I got out and I went out there, and the COs didn't get on me. The teachers didn't get on me. The men in that prison got on me. They gave me something that the men out here didn't give me. They made me accountable. They made me responsible. They said, if you don't get your little ass back in that school, we're gonna take you in that gym and beat that body, right? And I'm 5'5", 130 pounds with no hair on my face. I'm like, I'm not letting this man beat my body. I'm taking my butt back to school, right? And in doing so, I ended up getting the highest score on a GED in Maryland history at the time. All right, and that's when I say that. And they took me in the gym. We worked out. They help you build mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? They gave you books to read. Like you could be just walking down the hallway, and the dude will give you a book and say, "Man, I want you to read that by the end of the week and give me a book report," right? And you better do it, or you won't be in that gym getting them body punches. You're gonna be fighting. It's like this is how it was, and we hated it at the time, as a lot of youngins in there. But a lot of us that are my age that grew up, we ended up doing the same thing they were doing. Young guys were coming into jail. We took them in there under our wings, put them in programs, we put them in school. We made sure that they got everything they needed so the gangs wouldn't get a hold of them in there. Because once the gangs get a hold of them in there and they under their wing, it's hard to get them out, right? And I was on a board of guys that there's a group of guys that help guys get out of gangs. That's another story. But that's what I mean when I say I never met a man till I went in prison. Yeah. Hope I answer your question.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You did. Thank you for your transparency. Again, while we listening to the gentleman speak, man, feel free to go check out his artwork. It's an expression of his life. I can't speak highly of it enough. All his words again. Thank you, my friend. We're gonna go to the minister in training, King Carly, and we want you to share part of your story, of course. And you know how it relates to male mental health issues as related to traumatic experience.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that my audio is up and good to go. Y'all can hear me clearly.
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, good, because I was having some sound issues earlier. It's not too loud for you guys now. I put on the earpieces. So, um, good afternoon, everybody, and hey, thank you, Reverend Motley, for your service. I myself am an Army veteran as well. Um, you already know what time that means as far as the brotherhood when it comes to that. Taught me so many values and traits and stuff as how to be towards people. Um, Thank you, Renaissance Zen, for your information, man, and thank you for everything you did in prison. Thank you for everything you do for the homeless now. I mean, thank you for your inspiration for me in life, bro. Because I'm telling you, if y'all heard my brother's story, I rode that 28 years with him, but instead of riding it in prison, I rode that 20 years with alcoholism. You know what I mean? So this is like a double dose that y'all get to get here. I hope you ladies and gentlemen out there that's listening really, really take heed to this stuff because we're teaching y'all about things that happened to us. And when after things that happened to us, how we were able to weather the storms and get through them and get on to the other side. And what we're doing is when we get to the other side of these things, we're now breaking the silence. I created this thing called the BS movement, which is breaking the silence. We're able to speak about these traumatic injuries, traumatic things that had happened to us, how we weathered the storms and how we got through them. See, that's how we are able to teach our children and our youth how to not make these mistakes. See, if we keep our mouths shut, ladies and gentlemen, we don't speak about these traumas and we don't talk about our testimonies and we don't give out these truths about what really truly happened to us, man, these kids that are out there experiencing these things ain't gonna know what to do. I mean, we can always throw a book at somebody and say, hey, here's the book. It tells you how to be able to figure this out and get to A to B. But really, you really need somebody to be able to teach you and tell you and show you through their experiences, through real life experience. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of my story. All right. So we'll go a little bit deeper, because my brother don't go back as far as I do. Because of course, our outlooks on life and everything that happened are very different. Um, as I was growing up, I looked at it as where I had separation from my mother. At a very early age, I don't even really remember living with my mother ever as a child. Um, that had a lot of trauma in my brain. It bothered me. Um, for the woman that I love, everything. That's what you learn. Almost everything you know early in your life was taken from me. Was gone. I was sent to live with my father, and immediately. And my brother don't talk about it a lot, but I'm not gonna get into it either. But there was a ethnicity barrier there, if I could say. Us being mixed and us being Filipino and so on and so forth, and my father being a Caucasian man, there was a lot of conflict there. All right. How we ended up with him. I'm not going to get in depth of that. It's my father. So we just leave it at that. All right. But there was a barrier between our colors of where we were, and that caused a lot of trauma growing up because we were facing racism very early. Me and my brother both faced racism, Reverend Motley, like you did, but in a different form. You got to understand, we faced racism very early, just like you did, but we were afraid to even go to my father's family's house for reunions, man. We thought we were going to get hung. And this is real talk. I mean, this is what, 83? 82. I mean, I can go back to stories where I remember seeing things deep down in the country of Virginia where racism is real. I mean, hey, it was real. It's still real today. But outside of that, I dealt with that mental health trauma. Okay, that's one, two very traumatic blows to me as a very young man. Oh, I'm young. I'm sorry. I'm a child. I'm a baby. 4, 5, something like that. 6. Okay, a little bit more down the line. Let's keep on going. 7, 8, around 9. Had some very, very traumatic sexual encounters happen to me. You hear me? Some very, very traumatic. Older teenage women and older teenage girls and a few other people were around, like not encouraged, kind of told and made us do things that we weren't supposed to do. That right there just it just did something to me that was different. And what I want to tell y'all to listen, my brothers and sisters have experienced some sexual trauma. I can't really remember the physical acts. I'm 42. I'm 43 now, and like that happened when I was 9. So I can't really remember the physical acts, but I do remember the embarrassment. I do remember the confusion. I do remember of not knowing what to do, how to react to this. But see, this has so much trauma, and it's gonna go even further than this. All right, I hope I don't have a lot of time. We're supposed to be going on something here soon, around 9, I guess. But anyway, I'm gonna just get into it because it all makes sense about how trauma can affect you into your adulthood, and I'm about to break that down to you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so right around that time, you know, I experienced sexual trauma. Right after that, my brother left for murder for prison for the rest of his entire life. You got to understand, it's been separated from my mother. I was dealing with racism, sexually traumatized, and then trying to run my brother, leave him for prison. Like this is unreal. I ain't have nothing at all left in my life to even turn to. But by the grace of God, and only by the grace of God, because guess what I turned to? I turned to the streets. I have nothing. I started going to the streets, started hanging around the older dudes. They didn't teach me how to be a man either, but they taught me how to survive. All right, the streets taught me how to survive, but unfortunately, that game is very, very tricky because in that game, when you get in that game, then everything in that game gets into you. And I mean, you're talking about manipulation, narcissism. I'm talking about selling drugs, doing drugs, manipulating women, hurting women, cheating on women. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, all the negativity, all that, that's who you become. Your morals, your standards, all those things are out the window. It becomes what you are. And if you're in the streets, you start doing those things in the streets. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I found something. I found something that I thought was going to be able to save my life and save me from the mental hell that I was going through. You know what it was? It was a bottle of old granddad's whiskey. Old granddad's whiskey. To this day, I remember that. At like 11 years old, we were walking down the street, and I picked up this daggone bottle, and me and 2 of my friends were looking at each other, and I was experiencing so much trauma in my life. I took that bottle. I said, I'm not going to mix it like the older folks do. I'm going to pop the top, and I guzzled down half a bottle of old granddad's whiskey at 11 years old. And imagine what that would do to you. I'm going to tell you what, it burned going down, and within seconds, that was gone. You talking about pain? No, I had no pain. Trauma? What? Laughing at trauma. I was like, here it is. That's it. I'm going to chase this alcohol for the rest of my life because I am not going to let nothing bother me no more. Because when I drink that bottle, all that go away. But it's a trick, ladies and gentlemen. It's a trick. All this mental health trauma I experienced pushed me into alcoholism that sat on me for 30 years. But that's not only trauma that it did. Let me go through each point of trauma, what happened to me. Racism. Dealing with racism had me very iffy dealing with whites and blacks growing up because I was fighting with whites and blacks growing up being an Asian American man in this area I live in. All right, separation from the mother. I don't even know how to treat women. I don't even know how to talk to women. I don't trust women. All right, around 9 years old, sexually molested, sexually traumatized by older women. What do you think that did to me? Using me as a physical tool, man. I grew up fast, man. I ain't no little man. I had hair in my face. I mean, I ain't gonna get into the specifics, but man, I thought I was doing something big boy style. I'm 10, 11 years old, chasing 17, 18-year-old girls because people in my age group wasn't doing the things I was doing. And what we was doing was real stuff. I mean, I was 9, 10 years old doing what porno was doing. So you can imagine what we was doing. Okay, we was doing it. And we was forced to do it at first, but then it just came what we were doing. All right, it opened up Pandora's box. So all of this stuff happened to me. Brother leaving, all this trauma, alcoholism, sexual trauma, all this stuff stayed bottled up into me. I ain't have nowhere to express this. I didn't even know how to express this, but I expressed it in negativity. I expressed it in lies and violence and drugs and sex and alcohol. This is how I express my negative trauma. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. There's other ways we can do that. There's positive ways we can do that. So that's just a little bit of my story as far as when that's concerned. Um, I can go so much further. I mean, when I joined the military, thank God, by the grace of God, I was able to get through that experience. That was traumatic in its own, being in the military, the things that we did in the military. I don't even speak about. I don't even talk to a lot of people about what happened to me in the military. You know, I don't talk about these things that I do. I want that to be rid from my mind forever. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. But the military did something to me that my brother could say a while ago. The military turned me into a man. All right. Once I left the streets and I got a choice between going to jail like my brother or keep running down the streets or going to prison. I just had a son at 15. Listen to this. Oh, now that I brought that up, let me bring that up too. Because sexual trauma and that's trauma messed my head up so bad. Me not having a family, me being sexually traumatized, I thought that I wanted to have a child. While every woman that I met, can you believe this? Listen to my mentality. My mental health was so gone that I was like, I want to have a child by every woman that I be with because I don't never want to be left alone again. I don't never want to be abandoned again. I will know for a fact that them children will be half of mine and they will always be with me until the day that I die. This is the mentality I was having at 14 years old, 13 years old, running around here having sex with grown women. I was selling cocaine and selling crack at 12, making thousands of dollars, man. I was getting money. That stuff stayed in me. I don't know how, like, I just now learned over the years how to handle money because I didn't even respect money. Mentally, I was gone. What's money? Money come in this hand and go in that hand, and I got Gucci and Versace on. It still stuck with me. I still wear it. I mean, these are things that stick with you, characteristics that you become if you do not express your trauma and talk about your mental health, brothers and sisters. Listen to me. I'm saying brothers and sisters. I mean, that goes for everybody. I'm talking to men right now. So, young man, listen up. Queen Auntie has created a space, and this is real, okay? The more you talk about your trauma, the better you'll start to feel. Listen, the brain operates almost like a picture, almost. It takes a bunch of pictures, and the only way you can replace these pictures is by coming full circle with them, agreeing with what happened to them, and start replacing them pictures with positive pictures and let them ones filter out. And that's what I'm in the process of doing. I was delivered by the grace of God from 28 years of alcoholism, 29 years. You hear my brother, he did 28 years of incarceration. We did these things at the same time. As my brother was going to prison for murder, I was drinking the bottle. His direction went that way, my direction went that way. We sat there for 28 years apart. While he was gone for murder, I was a drunk alcoholic. I'm talking about dragging people all through the mud, beating on people, violent, nasty, disgusting. You wouldn't even imagine. I can't even believe it. But I stayed a balanced individual because I had God in me and God always been in me. So as much hurt as I did the same amount of good. And I made sure I stayed in the level plateau. So if I could teach my brothers and sisters what to do, you stay in a level plateau in your life. Stay in a level plateau. Try to stay level. That's bare minimum. Okay, you can always do better. But this safe space that King Alfie has created, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. You young brothers out there that are listening to this, man, you come on the Call Anonymous. She set something up that's going to happen around 9 o'clock, I believe, another 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a hotline. I mean, Chris is going to bring us up on it a little bit more, the clarity about how this goes down. Young brothers, if you're out there and you're hurting, you're struggling in pain, trust me, us brothers have been through it. We've gone through the pits and hell of it. And guess what? We came out on the other side. Mine was by the grace of God, and mine was to be able to heal. As I got let go of the alcoholism, my mind started to clear up. So if you're dealing with alcoholism or drug addiction right now, listen, you will heal your mind if you stop. 21 days, you'll start to feel like a human again, I promise you. Give yourself a month or two. How about 6? Maybe imagine what your mind will start to heal. And it takes 2 years for you to start becoming who you were. It's like I'm back with new eyes. I left when I was 12 years old. I just woke up out of a 28-year ride of alcoholism, and I don't even know how to act. And guess what? I don't know how to treat women. I got 3 baby moms. I had my first one at 15. I mean, I don't know how to have a relationship. I just now started to learn how to become a man that knows how to respect a woman and stop looking at women as an object. Something that had happened to me when I was young because of trauma and stuff that I held bottled up that women don't do nothing for me but do this, and this. So this is what I'm going to do for them. And that's it's all done now, y'all. There's the other side of this thing is sharing and talking in a safe space that Queen Afi has created will help you release the tension. It'll help you let go of the anger. It'll help you learn, help you listen to other brothers if you want to take the time and learn and educate your mind and yourself. So that's a little bit about what I got, man. I could spit about this for days, man. I could drop gems on you for days about this. Let me tell you about the greatest gift that I've got, y'all. Let me tell you the greatest gift. And this makes me smile from head to toe. Yo, do you know at one time in my life, man, I used to be a menace to society, 100%. But now I've been delivered and I'm healed, and my relationship has grown with God. And now I'm moving differently. Man, I am about to try. I'm about to be a minister soon, Reverend Martin. I hope you do. The 21st of May, do y'all understand that God has reached me out in a different part of my life, out of the darkness, and pulled me to the light? He has turned all my pain into a purpose. I'm able to educate my brothers and sisters from all places like this and educate y'all for this stuff. Man, God is so great, and the greatest gift I got out of all this in my life is that, man, I've been giving my life back to God. I'm sober, man. He's healed me, and I ain't doing nothing but getting stronger and stronger every day. You hear me? I'm so full, whatever. God is great, man. Now, hey, I'm a pastor cook, man. I can't really talk. I'll talk for days.
Bro, you not, you know, you something. You're not the only one, man. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 47, and I got a DVD right here. I can pop in the computer and show you. Maybe 10, maybe not even 10 years, maybe 10 years ago, I was at a panel with Queen Afia at a church in Baltimore, and I told everybody at 37 years old, I just learned the difference with love and how to love and all these things that we should learn growing up before we go mangle ourselves with females and have kids and things of that nature. I'm just learning that. Now I'm married now, I'm stable now. But what about all the people that I heard beforehand? What about the people that came before her? You know, there's hurt in many of our past that a lot of times we go back and correct. You know, many times people will tell you, they hear me say, if you ever see me running down the street and I heard a woman chasing me saying, he did this, he did that, just believe I
Wow.
did it and let him get it.
Dang.
Get me and just let him
Hey,
get it because I probably did it.
Chris, I'm gonna tell you what, man.
You
One
know,
thing I
so
gotta
you're
say
not the
about you,
only one, my friend. I share your
I appreciate, I appreciate it. I just wanted to say to you because I always appreciate your transparency as well, bro. Because you really be like, look, man, I did that. You know what I mean? I did that. And let me go ahead and tell y'all, I did that too. Like straight up. I've been crud ball, crud D, man. Like was so angry and so messed up mentally, man. I didn't know how to express my trauma in no other way other than lies and deceit and all this. I mean, come on. Like that alcoholism, and if I got one more quick thing to say before we step into the safe space, I do want to say this. I do want to say that you definitely need to be able to express your trauma in some kind of positive way. You got to find yourself an outlet. Don't turn to negativity because guess what? You're not going to get any positive results out of that. All right, negative plus negative doesn't equal positive. Okay, straight up. Y'all remember that. All right, we about to do this. I'm going to go ahead and chill out. Hold on. Let me see. There's
oh. Bro, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't.
I think he's done.
Are
Okay.
y'all still here? Are you still here, Chris?
We still here. We still here.
All right, we're in. Which one? Hello, how you doing? Hello? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a call coming in right here from someone now that's reaching out on the safe space line. How you doing today? I'm gonna just real quickly, briefly say that this is a strictly anonymous call. Um, no information about anybody's name will be passed on other than the men that you see on here. We are willing and more than willing to be on here, and we're openly sharing who we are as our identity. But I want you to know that this is a space that is strictly for you, that needs to be unknown. I want you, only you, to feel comfortable to expose yourself. That's up to you, but we really would prefer to keep this a safe space so you can share anything that you want to do. I mean, anything that you need to say, and we are here to listen for you, my brother, and we are here to help you in any way we can to encourage you. So how you doing today? Would you like to speak and share about any type of trauma we have going on today with me and myself and the other three gentlemen here?
And I just wanted to come to speak about, emotional support. It's not me per se, but I got men on me. I can see, at home, so from that standpoint, it's how they doing anything, They angry, they mad about something all the time, and it's like they don't got nobody to practice.
Can't hear him.
Hold on, sir. Let me try to. You know what? I'm trying to get. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm hearing everything that you're saying, but I want everybody to be able to hear you. So I'm having a disconnection. They're making us move too. All right. Okay, I'm listening to you.
Okay, real quick, I'm gonna get you to hold on 1 second. I'm gonna address my brothers on the other line here. Hey, Chris, y'all couldn't hear the young man, could you?
No, sir.
All right, listen, I'm trying to figure out a way to get some audio to you guys, but the young man was talking about encouragement and things like that, and his friends and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to pass the message along right now until we figure out this audio thing. So you can go ahead and say what you were saying again. I'm gonna see if I can take this off the Bluetooth, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna go with a loudspeaker. So if you hear a lot of loud noise in the background, I do apologize, but I'm gonna try to put the speakerphone on the speaker here so y'all will be able to hear him. So give me 1 second, please.
All right. So while we doing that, I want to take a quick minute to again thank you fellas for coming out and participating
Hold on 1 second, sir.
in that with us. Yeah, so we can hear it.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me? Can
I
you hear me,
can.
Chris?
I can.
All right. Okay, young man, can you go ahead with what you were saying again?
Yeah, I was saying that I got some buddies out here.
Real quick, hold on 1 second. Can y'all hear him?
No.
All right, let me know when you can hear him or not, okay?
Go ahead, speak something. Can you say something for me again, sir?
Yes, sir. Y'all hear me?
Y'all hear him yet?
Y'all hear me?
No, sir.
Can you hear me, Charles? Can you hear me, Charles?
I can hear you. Yes, I can't hear the caller.
Let's see what Queen said. Sure, yeah. I don't know what she needs me to do.
We might need you to
Oh.
talk to him and translate for us.
Looks like I'm gonna have to pass the message. All right. She said I'm gonna have to discuss this. I'm not understanding what direction Queen wants me to do, but I do want to follow her lead on this. So I'm gonna discuss this with my young man here, and I'm gonna relay the question. Y'all can sit here if you want to. Okay. All right. How you doing today? All right. All right. How's it going? Day by day. Good. Good. So real quick, the safe space being created. It's created for us to be able to share all the things that we need to be able to say. And I really appreciate you, first off, calling in and having the courage to be able to call and talk to us about what you have going on. And we can learn from you as well as we can learn, as you can learn from us. So I appreciate you and thank you. You got everything? All right. So share with me, man. Share with me. Mm, yeah. I got something to share with y'all. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. Okay. Right. Right. Any steps? Okay. Of course we do. Let me share this with the brothers here, and don't go nowhere because I mean I can hear you and you can hear you. I do apologize for the you not being able to hear clearly on the thing, but we're gonna work through this. Okay, we're gonna make sure that you get the resources and the information that you need. So Charles, just to let you know, young brother here is telling me that him and his buddies out here, they are struggling with finding encouragement from other brothers that are older like ourselves, to be able to help them to learn different ways to release their traumas and struggles. But it sounds like to me, we do know the ways as men, as far as we're talking about them now. But I guess that we're going to have to really, really get out here and get to them, and really create these spaces and these environments. And Queen Afi is the frontier leader of this thing because she's showing to us that she's the one creating the spaces for us. So we need to follow her lead and create these spaces. So the advice that I have to this young man, and he was saying also they staying in the house and they always are very, very violent, like always really trying to find a way. Anger is just built up inside of them, and you know, I believe that the first step that we're doing, young man, if you're listening, and brothers that are listening over here, is right now you're doing the first step. And this is what you need to tell your brothers and sisters or your brothers that are out there, your friends. You tell them the first step is not being afraid to share, not being afraid to come on a safe space segment like this and to be able to talk about trauma, being able to express the things that are bothering them. You need to be able to yourself come on a place like this, and me telling you that it will help. Just be able to talk to people, and I appreciate you letting me know what you're saying too, because this is how we can learn how to become better for y'all, for the younger men, and what we need to do. And it sounds like to me, Charles, and everybody else that's listening and tuning in, is that we need to start being able to be more motivated on creating more spaces for young teen men and younger young men, other than sports and activities and things like this. Like, I don't know what the breakthrough that we can get through to them. I don't know what they like.
I mean, we were young men like them before, and sports is just something that we always use as a barrier to break, which is a great thing. But it seems like to me, it only works for handfuls that are great at sports. So we have to find other ways and other things, even if we have to build an environment that has all the resources there: music, audio, art, food, sports, culinary. I mean, these are the things that I think that we need to accomplish. Does that sound like something that you be interested in, young man? See, this is the type of information that we need to get. I really appreciate you calling in on this safe space, and I want you to be able to tell all your brothers that you're dealing with, that dealing with issues, that there is this line, this hotline, this safe space that men are about to start coming on right here, just like this. I don't know who's going to pick up the lead on it, but I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be a once in a very few, times that we're going to be doing this. Now we're going to start creating this on the regular. And young man, I hope that the information that got to you gets to your other brothers and sisters like that, or brothers as well. Push the word, push what's going on with the movement. Let them know that time needs to be changed, and people are really, really, really care about the future of this country and this future of this earth, the planet. I mean, just society in a whole. So let them know that help is on the way, or help is here, and we're trying to figure out how we can figure this out. You know what I mean? How about this? I got something that came to my mind, and gun violence is something that we deal with a lot. With the mental health portion, because mental health pushes these kids to pick up these guns, and they think that they're releasing their anger by shooting at people. Well, how about we just try to? I mean, since we can't fully take the guns away from them, and we already know that they're gonna learn how to use them with or without us teaching them. So how about we use this in a positive way? Who knows? How you know that we can't create a gun range or a frustration range or something like that, that we can take these kids and learn them how to sharpshoot, teach them how to shoot long distance, or something like target for game and for sport. You feel me? Does that sound like something you would be interested in? We about to board our plane. Man, that time. Man. Um, but yeah, I think our plane boards right now. But yeah, definitely. I think that spaces like that need to be recreated. Charles, what kind of feedback you got for my young man here? You got something for him? You would like to say to him? I hope you can hear him. Maybe I'll hold the phone. You can hear Charles. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, you know,
Can you
you
hear him?
pretty much said to you pretty much I pretty much ditto what you said. Someone did just put a comment up that said we need more safe space for men other than sports. I do agree with that. And I believe there are avenues out there for men
Okay.
other than
Okay,
sports and
listen.
martial arts, but we don't see them for men because they're female driven industries. For example, there are culinary, there are cooking programs out there. Men can do that. There are instruments, musical, what do you call it? Where you can play an instrument type program. There are a lot of avenues out here for young men to get into, but it's the obligation of the parent to figure out for their child. And if there is not a male in the house to help make this decision, then one of the things the parents needs to do is to find an organization like a big brother, big sister, or a mentoring program that can step in and be the man to guide that son. Because although we might hear this a lot, I'm a good mother and a good father. You're not. You're just a really good mother. You're not a father at all. But you're going to need a male in that man's life. Going to end one by the way one of us went 28 years drinking, 28 years in
You
prison,
okay?
or going
You okay?
around just beating up women. You know, do you want that for your son? I don't think you do.
All right. Hey, that's that. Hey, did you hear what he said, the young man? Oh, you know what? He got all the information. He got all the information there, and I appreciate that, Chris. This is what it's all about. How about you, Renaissance man? You got something to share with this young man? What he was saying was him and his friends are struggling with encouragement, brothers, giving out encouragement to the younger sources. We okay? Oh, we got a board? All right. We'll take him to the last minute and come get him. Listen, young man. I think this should be another number. It's going to be many numbers, many resources for young men to call. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I do apologize. I want to try to pass you on to another number. I'm going to probably shoot you a text and give you another number to call. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stay on here longer with you. I have to jump on a plane. I got delayed and I'm about to board actually right now. I don't want to carry on there. But I do want to say thank you for your courage, young man. We are out here and I hear what you're saying. I'm definitely going to try to make a push and make sure I come with more encouragement. Ren, I'll let you speak with him for a minute. Say what you guys say before I board onto this plane. And thank you, young man. I'm going to let you talk with him. And after that, I'm going to go, okay? Go ahead, Ren.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I apologize. I was muted. I stepped away for a couple minutes, so I didn't hear everything. But I do understand from what I did hear is a young man who's looking, correct me if I'm wrong, looking to be able to communicate with men that went through this before. Am I wrong?
All right. Did you hear that? Yeah, his phone was low. He was breaking up a little bit. Ren, we're
Reach
gonna
out to domestic violence.
yeah, he's gonna
Where's
reach
many
out to
tags?
reach out. We want you to reach out to domestic violence. Where's many tags? This is a mental health advocate. They're helping with all mental health resources. I want you to pass the message on to your friends and everybody that's struggling with any type of mental health issue. Reach out to Queen Ivy, myself, Bazan Reverend, Chris, and Reverend Molly. There's a whole bunch of us out here, but domestic violence, where's many tags, is exactly the people that you need to reach out to for your mental health issues, and we are here for your support. And God bless you. Yep, I'm gonna text you with another number to get a hold of them. Okay. And God bless you. All right.
Okay, now
Unfortunately, I
I
have to
want
get on this
to
plane.
point out one thing.
I
Because we
apologize.
got a brother Greg board a flight, but in the midst of boarding this flight, he stopped to take a safe space call. So what that lets people know is we do this for real. We don't just do this for play. It's not something part time. We not playing safe space tag. That man is great to board a flight to somewhere. He stopped right before he boarded his flight to make sure that he talked to that young man to give that young man the information he needed. That's commendable. Um, that's commendable. Um, I got we got a little bit of time left. I got Ren the artist here, and I got Reverend Motley, who is going to be back with us shortly. Um, one thing I want to let it be known is that we're talking about bridging the gap, and we're talking about breaking strongholds. We're talking about restoring families, and we're talking about saving lives. And in your conversation, my friend, I took a little bit of notes. Um, I want you to explain, like you talked about the two pieces of art behind you, but I want you to explain how your art is really, how your life is really manifested in your art.
How my life has manifested in my art.
Yes,
Can you
because you
can you
described the
explain
two
what you
pieces behind you.
okay? The the blue one right here is called The Struggle. I painted
No,
that
no, 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 no,
in
no, no,
oh I'm sorry.
no. I'm sorry. No, you explained those. I was saying, but can you explain it in other pieces, just in general, how your
Oh
life is manifested into your art?
um lately I've been painting a lot of abstract pieces. I haven't really done a lot of portraits lately. Um I do abstract pieces because I kind of feel that a subconscious mind recognizes signs and symbols more than it recognizes letters on a page, right? And so I do a lot of just abstract work with I, all the anger and rage that I have in me at times. If I'm sitting in front of a canvas, I let it out. Throw the paint on the canvas, splatter the paint on canvas, doing this, doing that. I just release it, right? There's times when I sit in front of the canvas and I'm full of joy and I feel of peace. and I let that out on the canvas, right? By the way, I just place it on there. So I've kind of moved into the abstract art more than doing portraits and doing that stuff. As you can see through my journey on Instagram, how my pieces used to be a lot of portraits, some photorealistic portraits, and how it moved from that to starting to do a lot of abstract stuff. I was mixing a lot of portraits with abstract stuff, and then I just completely moved to doing abstract work. And I think it resonates with a lot of people. Some people might stare at one of our paintings, they might see 1,000 different things. And people see me and they see 1,000 different things, right? Like at my job, no one at my job really knows. Like Wednesdays are office days. So Wednesdays we in the office with all the other case managers and we doing work on Wednesdays. Other than that, I'm working from home. I'm in the community. I'm building with people. But when they in there, they see me and they don't know my background. They don't know where I've been. And a couple people that I did share with, they will say, I never knew because of the way you carry yourself that you went through that. Right. And if a person looks at my artwork, my abstract work, they might see one thing, but never knew my intent was to show another thing, if that make any sense.
I
Because
got
everybody
you.
sees something different, right? So that's what I feel on that.
All right. Hey, Rev, I want you to discuss faith-based.
You said face based?
No, I'm talking to the Rev.
Okay.
Okay. Like you said, what was now? I wanted to say, one of the things that Brother Ren said was his art, ma- was manufactured from a thought, and that's what I started doing years ago, and created an organization called Inner Thoughts Inc. In the Inner Thought, I talked to some of my buddies who came out of Lawton, and they had what is called inner voices, and I was impressed with what they did through inner voices, and I came up with this Inner Thoughts, and the Inner Thoughts is a manifestation of the things that I've been dealing with over years, and the thoughts that I've had. Um, as and I was remember telling somebody back in 1968, when Martin Luther King got assassinated, and my mother and one of her missionary friends took me to the poor people's resurrection city down at the mall, and I met a lot of people from across the country, and I think I was like 17, 18 years old, and I was helping them during that time with food and clothing, and helping them to build up the tents and things that were down there. And then when I went in the army, I was like a construction person. I was in a combat engineer and a paratrooper. And then I met some friends, and I became indoctrinated into the Black Panther Party. Now here I am I'm in the military, but I'm a Black Panther, and that didn't go well. That didn't go well. And but I was, we had a sergeant who, when I was overseas, he would have us sit down and talk to him. It's kind of like what men were saying about going to having men learning about manhood. And there was a sergeant who taught us about manhood, about being men in the military. And then we started teaching one another Black history, and we were teaching about issues of family, and how to in the community. And so we would always pray and ask God for guidance. And then even during the time that I was out there in the street, kept coming home, and then finding out about God, not God in terms of of Christianity and religion and all that, but God as a supreme being, a higher power, and then I got connected to the shrine of the Black Madonna, and then became a Black Christian nationalist. And then I looked at, okay, so I'm on a spiritual journey, And then I remember when I would go down south with my great grandfather and them and learn how to deal with the animals and to deal with the feed food, planting and harvesting. And so I became more of a naturalist person, And then, but kept the spiritual thing, And then even when I was dealing with drug addiction and hustling and all that stuff, I always kept God in the forefront, and I was never allowing about my situation to get the best of me. Just even I was saying about the time about thinking about dying or killing myself. It was like, okay, which way am I going to do it? Am I going to take some pills? Am I going to do a gun? Am I going to get a knife? I'm going to get some razors and cut me. I'm figuring all this stuff. And then God says, wait a minute, hold up, son. You got some work to do. You got too much to do. You got to continue to stay alive so that you can do the work that I'm calling you to do. And so I realized that the spirituality component so important, and that men, we kind of, we used to leave the church over to the women, let the women handle the church. We would come sometime, we would come whenever we want to come, and we didn't allow for the men to understand our relationship with God and our relationship with one another. So I had to learn that over the years. I think that when we look at the issue of despair, that's a serious component. It's something that people don't really take. A lot of people don't think about that despair. Some people talk about it as depression. No, depression is part of it. But when you have despair is so hopeless. No, there's no. It's like no bottom to it. You can't hold on to nothing. You fight. You can't. You're like you fighting, and you don't have no nothing to hold on to anything. And so I think that the young people today have to be mindful, be reminded that God is our power, and that we as and those of us um, who are spiritual, it's not a religion thing. It's a spiritual component that we have to make sure that who we are in spirit and truth. Um, I think that I sometimes get mixed up. I had like this stroke that I had, and I'm appreciative of Queen allowing me to participate in this. This is the first time I've had this kind of talking since I had the stroke. But I had aphasia. I have aphasia. So aphasia is the same stroke that Bruce Willis had. The Bruce Willis, the actor, and I lost my cognitive skills. I lost my kid. Anybody that had a challenge of their cognitive skills, it's scary. you forget who you are. You forget who your family is. You forget all that. You don't remember things. You can't talk, and you have to learn how to speak again. You had to read again. Had to learn how to read again. Had to learn how to write. I couldn't write. As part of my therapy is writing now. No, this is more talking that I've done. I'm gonna tell you, I haven't had this much talking in 4 years. Um, but what was I gonna say? Um, we were talking about the issue of yeah, I forgot what you were saying. Um, I
You
can't
was
remember.
talking about you had to relearn a lot of stuff, a lot of cognitive skills. You had to learn how to write again. Part of your therapy was learning how to write.
Yeah, and this is something that even the young men to today, um, that a lot of problems that we're experiencing now is is not they have not been learned. They haven't learned how to be men. They haven't learned how to be responsible, how to be disciplined. You know, like picking up the guns. You know, I know the im- the impact of having a gun. I know guns, and you got to learn not to be so emotional and so undisciplined that you want to shoot and kill somebody. That's the final act of doing something to somebody. It's shooting somebody, it's killing them. And so we need to teach the young people more about their discipline. But the spiritual thing is the most important thing right now, because lack of spirituality, it breeds a lack of discipline, and a lack of discipline causes a uncontrolled, irresponsible person. You know, um, so when you look at like the Muslims, what they pray 3 times a day. You know, um,
Five,
5 times a day. That's discipline.
5 times.
Yeah, 5 times. That's discipline. There's those of us who in the Christian family who pray. Now I pray. I'm gonna tell you right now. I pray 3 times a day: in the morning, the afternoon, and in the evening, and at night when I go to bed. So it's 3 times. Um, but that's discipline, you know. And the young people today don't have that kind of discipline. And
I
so we
got you.
have to
I
encourage
got you.
them. Yeah.
All right. Let me ask both of you all a question. And since you just finished, we're gonna let Ren go first. I want you all to speak to single mothers with male children.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear it because it went out a
Speak
little
to
bit.
speak to the single mothers with male children. Give them some advice on what they should do, how they should proceed.
That's deep right there. Speak to the single mothers with male children.
Yes.
I know a lot of single mothers that have male children, and we all know they say a woman can't teach a child, I mean a boy how to be a man, right? But from what I've seen from friends that I have, even my wife, before I came into her life, she has a son, and I see the difference in my stepson and how he interacts with his mother, right? Because she gives him so much love. She's very loving on him. When I was growing up, you would call that a mama's boy, whatever. But I wish my mother would have loved on me the way my wife loves on her son. Like always lets him know who he is, always recognizes the strengths that he has, and she affirms the strengths that he has. She doesn't mind introducing him to male role models, not just, I mean, like me, not just me, but other like friends that I have. She don't have no problem introducing our son to them because he can emulate us. He can see how we walk and how we carry ourselves. I apologize, that's my dog. Somebody's walking outside, so he's going off right now. That little guard dog. RG.
I got you.
But what I would say is to seek out male mentors, form, show love, show that love to him, and just let him know, affirm him, and let him know that he's going to be great. Let him know that he's going to be strong. He's going to be kind. He's going to be intelligent. Just always speak that affirmations in him, right? Because there's seeds that are being planted that will bear fruit later on. If I'm making any sense, right? Just drop them seeds, drop them their positivity in them, because believe me, it means a lot. And I wish I had that, and I know my brother wish he had that when we were growing up. So
Yeah, and also the history,
right?
knowing the history, to let our young men know, being a king, where we came from, the history of African American history, and other ethnicities, that they have background, and know where your family, where people came from, and the things that you've been able to accomplish as a people. That's important.
It is. It is. It's very important. One of the things I want to touch on, because he said he wished he was loved on, he wished he was hugged on. Like, I grew up without any male role models, like not a one. I met my dad for the first time when I was 32. My mother was married for a 3-year stint during my teenage years, but he wasn't really a good role model. And so my role models were the guys on the block, the guys on the street, the guys who taught me to learn behavior that I exercise in my dating prison lives. And, I don't say that to brag or boast on the lifestyle that I was living. I say that to say that if a man is not taught how to be, if a boy is not taught how to be a man, then he's going to be a man the way he's taught how to be a man, which might not be being a man. Um, so we need to make sure we're guiding our young males. We're pushing them in the right direction. I spent a lot of times with a great friend of mine who's passed away now, Barry Howard. He started an organization that we went out and we reached out to young men, and we gave them skills and an opportunity to be something other than nothing in life. And we need just more men like us in the world doing this. And I know there are others out here like us doing this. They're just not on this call. And like I tell people all the time, everybody's not going to get credit for everything they do. Some people just do stuff and they're just going to do it. Do I do it to get credit? I don't. I do it because I believe it's the civic thing to do. It is my civic duty as a former abuser to reach out to men who currently abuse women, who think about abusing women, and touch them and talk to them and say, hey, this isn't the way to go. This isn't the way. This is not going to lead you in the right path in life. It's going to lead down a road of destruction, and in the end, you're going to wish you would have listened to Mr. Chris. You know, I'm sure you fellas do agree with what I just said. And with 5 minutes left, I could just, have a couple of closing words with both of you all.
I'll go. I want to close with I just want everybody that's listening to not only for themselves but to share with the other people in that circle that you're not alone. We all are suffering. Um, and there is a way out of suffering, and it starts with recognizing that you're going through stuff, recognizing that you have issues, and then finding the right resources to help you get out those issues. And one of the resources is by reaching out to domestic violence wears many tags. Cause from what I see and from what I hear, you all do great work. You all do great work, and it's much needed work. And just know that you're not alone, and other people are going through what you're going through. There's no shame. Just just want it for yourself, and you can get that help you need. And I know that everybody on this panel, including myself, we're open to help. Reach out to any of us. My name on here is my Instagram name, so you can reach out to me. In my bio, there's another link to my personal Instagram, not just my art Instagram, but my personal Instagram. You can reach out to me there too. There's a link to my website. You can reach out to me there too. If you have any questions, you need any help with anything, I'm open to talk to you. So just keep your head up and live life and enjoy life. So that's how I'm gonna end right there.
You said keep your head up, live life, and enjoy life. I like that. Those are words to live by. One more thing. So, share one thing share one thing you wish for male mental health.
One thing for mental
Yeah,
health.
either one of y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing you wish to see in male mental health.
I think I would like to see more men acknowledging that they have some mental health issues. I think that some people need to know what are mental health issues. We know we say what's the word, triggers. What are the triggers that cause men to do things that are not productive. So I like to see more. I'm gonna give you an example. Years ago, I used to smoke cigarettes and I used to smoke marijuana. In 1981, I was in the doctor's office, and the doctor had a video, and he was showing the lungs of an infected person who smoked. And I went home and I said, I don't want my lungs to look like that. And I stopped smoking. I stopped smoking everything. And I said I didn't want that in my lungs. And so men, it's like, do you want to be better? You want to be more healthier? You want to be more productive? Then find ways to find places where you can get the help, mental health, and what constitutes mental mental health. And it's not a negative. And a lot of times people think that it's a negative, but it's part of your your being. It's part of your who you are to be healthy. You know, like they say, men, we don't want to go to the doctor. I'd rather be sick than go to. Just like even with COVID, look at the men that didn't want to take the vaccination. You know, um, and then look at the number of men that died because of it. And so we have to look at the mental, the things necessary to be a healthy person. you know, and so I thank God for that.
All right. Well, this has been an excellent round of discussion. The wish list. I appreciate both of you fellas for the past 2 hours of your time. It's been a pleasure spending it with you. Let this not be the last time we meet or have an interaction with one another. Again, big shout out to Domestic Violence Wears Many Tags organization, CEO by Queen Afee. You can always reach out to them in various methods. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, I believe they're on Twitter. I don't tweet, so I don't know how Twitter works. My Instagram is Mr._change_agent. Mr._change_agent. You can always reach out to me there. Most people have my phone number. It also should be somewhere in my profile. But I just want to again thank you all for coming out and just doing the thing with us tonight. And I guess in closing, if I could quote the great Barack Obama, he said, "One voice can change a room." And we're that one voice. And if voice can change the room, it can change a city. And if it can change the city, it can change the state. And if it can change the state, it can change a nation. And if it can change the nation, it can change the world. We're the voice that's leading that challenge and that construction to change the world and eradicate domestic violence. And I'm asking everybody that's under the sound of our voice to join us. It's up to you. Don't sit back and do nothing and then expect something to happen. I believe the good book tells us faith without works is dead. So we all need to play our part. All right. So I say good night and thanks again.
All right, thank you. Bless you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yes, sir.